So, welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. I'm Carol Livingston from Dynamics Connections, and I'm excited to interview our next guest, David Gersten from Versapay. Well, welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. And on this episode, we have David Gersten from Versapay. Welcome, David.
Thank you so much for having me participate. I'm real excited to connect today.
Why don't you introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about your company's products?
Absolutely. My name is David Gersten. I'm the National Partner Manager here at Versapay. I am responsible for our relationship with Microsoft and many other aspects of the channel. Real excited to be here. Many people know I've been in the space for about 10 years, 12 years. Started with several VARs in the dynamic space and came over to Versapay about 14, 15 months ago. Real excited to be at the ISV. Totally different world. Versapay is really a fantastic organization. We have an accounts receivable platform. And what really is exciting about us is we start with ERP payments, just regular accepting and processing payments. And we go and by building solutions, by adding modules to our solution, ultimately we have a full collaborative AR solution, which automates the AR and collaborates with customers over the cloud. So it's a complete end-to-end solution to automate your AR department. We're fully integrated with the Dynamics ERP line, specifically the SaaS products of Business Central and Finance. But what we do there is, we've got this great payment network, and a lot of AR automation solutions are all about the payments. What really separates us is that we are a collaborative AR plus business-to-business payments company. So what we're really looking at is adding the human element between the AR teams and the AP teams that they work with, and bringing them together in a collaborative method of communication across the cloud. So whether or not it's a customer portal or it's a customer supplier portal, we have the ability to increase efficiencies, accelerate cash flow, improve customer experiences, do all that, which really separates us from other AR platforms.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's not just, AP payment or AR payments, right? There's a lot of vendors that just do that, or they might even have a customer portal. So it sounds like you kind of go beyond that, where it's more interactive and collaborative, as you say.
Absolutely. We take it to the next level. Everyone's PCI compliant, and everyone, mostly has that customer portal. But by adding the collaborative part, what it allows us to do is, have the merchants work with the buyers inside this portal, which eliminates the needs of picking up the phone, eliminates the needs of trying to find emails back and forth. Plus, also, we have one more addition that we call, ultimately makes it the full meal, which is our cash application solution, which really adds AI and automatically matches and applies your payments from any channel into your ERP system. Yeah, in particular, we do three things with all of our solutions: increase efficiencies, accelerate cash flow, and improve customer experience. So we look at customers. I mean, we had a customer, RPC, which is Research and Productivity Council out in Eastern Canada. One of the things we talk about is reducing DSO, so that's days sales outstanding. They had over $800,000 worth of invoices that were overdue, over 90 days overdue. Within 30 days of putting in our solution and really getting customers on board, they were able to take that total dollar amount down to $200,000. I mean, who wants to be lending that type of money to your customers right now? Especially the cost of money is so high right now that if we have that ability to give your customers more ways to pay, give them easier ways to pay with a click to pay invoice or recurring payments set up, it really makes your customer experience, the merchants who are using our software, their customers, just have a better experience. And we have almost 1 million people, 1 million businesses in our, what we call the Versapay network, which means someone, most likely the buyer of the merchants using the system, is using this for another merchant anyway. So it's real easy to have a great experience and get those bills paid.
Is there any specialty industry specifics that you've worked with? You mentioned RPC, but industries do you see are drawn to using the AR automation?
Yeah, Carol, that's a great question. We find ourselves less about the industry, but more about the pain points and the type of customer. So B2B is critical. We have some B2C customers out there, but really B2B. So, check, they're doing B2B. Do they have 500 minimum, sometimes 1,000, depending on the solution, but about 500 invoices per month are they sending out? And do they accept terms? At that point, as long as you check off those three, and you're not, in one of the non-product industries that is just typical in the credit card industry, in payments, there's certain things that you just can't transact today. We're pretty much going to be in most industries, specifically manufacturers that have lots of, invoices. Distributors typically have lots of invoices. We have a lot of food distributors, and then some professional services are really great. So like RPC, they're a project-based organization. So they have to deal with deposits and then milestone invoicing. And if they have 3,000 projects going on at a time and they're sending out all these invoices and different things, it really makes collecting on those invoices very challenging. So having the electronic distribution of invoices, or the AI applying the payments and things like that, makes it much easier, especially the collaboration. Because what happens in projects is the customer's like, well, I didn't get those hours. It should have been 3 hours or 4. And that collaboration really helps. Like in distribution, oh, that pallet was broken, or I was supposed to get 5% on line item 3. Those are just examples of the type of things that people are collaborating, that normally they'd have to pick up the phone, find their sales rep, have that whole experience, and they just make it much easier.
Yeah, or you get the check in the mail and they short paid and you don't know why.
Or they don't get the invoice in them. The invoice gets lost on someone, especially during COVID. There were so many invoices that were sitting in mailboxes at offices that people weren't going to. So, our growth exponentially, it was exploded during COVID because people wanted to get, our cash application solution helps the cash box, because people are still paying in a cash box, but when they're paying in an office and it's now a remote office environment, those payments tend to sit there. And most businesses, you'd be surprised, still actually pay by check.
Yeah, and that's true. Still paper check, but there are other payment options that you have, right?
We do accept different types of payments. As we look at different connectors and stuff, we'll be adding more payments. The hot thing is now virtual card. That's a real big buzzword. We are looking at ways to add different types of technology, whether or not it's the cardless payments through, different payment services as well.
Changing gears a little bit, but just kind of going on that thought process about, there's a lot of changes that have happened in the channel the past couple of years, like you mentioned. What challenges are you seeing that Dynamics partners or their customers are seeing?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's driving the conversation, it was a couple things. So we did a big study with Wakefield, and we realized that CEOs and CFOs are realizing that they are losing a lot of money in their AR process, whether or not it's time wasted by the AR clerks, it's litigation because payments aren't really being met and there's confusion of payments. So that's a big thing, so CFOs, the C offices, are now realizing that AR automation is kind of like that last department that needs to be automated. For years, warehouse has been automated and AP's been automated, and all the other business areas, but now finally this new category of AR being automated, that's really driven a lot. COVID obviously was a big factor, but also the really driving thing right now is people don't want cash being lent out at 0% to their customers. Cash is so expensive. So if you think about interest rates, people are paying, every $100,000 you have out there, it's thousands of dollars that are not, that if you had to go borrow that money, you'd have to pay
Mhm.
what, 3 times the amount
Yeah.
now in just the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's your working
So
capital that your customer is borrowing from you.
yeah, and you're just lending it to them, and they're expanding. Go
Yeah.
30 days,
That's a good
45
point.
days, 90 days. Oh, it's okay. I'll, but now with putting systems like ours in place, you could have dunning notices and statements and all this automation going out for the collections management piece. Plus,
Mhm.
also because you just make it easier for the customers to pay, like that example, RPC, even though they had $200,000 still in 90 days, people were paying in less than 3 days. They got the invoice, they click the payment, and they make the payment.
It
You
made
know,
it easier, so why not?
yeah,
Yeah, then
exactly. So
so
that's really what's driving it. Now that's on the end user. On the partner side, partners are finding ways to differentiate themselves. We fill a gap that doesn't exist in Business Central or finance right now. So even the older technologies, GP and AX and NAV and stuff, but primarily in the SaaS world, this solution doesn't exist in Business Central. So when you're competing against another ERP, working with our solution can help close your ERP as a whole. So for
mhm.
net new customers, plus for existing customers, it makes them more stickier. So when we're working with our partners, and we have hundreds of fantastic Versa partners, we call them. We've got a fantastic group of regional partner managers that manage their relationships on a daily basis. We provide another tool to make that solution stickier. So, plus we also could drive some hours, because eventually as partners can start doing their own implementations, then they can they have their own service opportunity. Plus we could do it as well, but we do love when partners pick up the responsibility and learn our product and have that ability, because I know when I was a partner, we wanted service dollars all the time, so that was a good
Yeah.
opportunity there.
That's true. When you're on the partner side, you're trying to maximize your team's utilization. So yeah, if they can learn one of these products and that's kind of your go-to application, then yeah, it makes sense to leverage
Right.
the team.
Especially if it's just our payments, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
the full meal, but if you just go with ERP payments, you get a pay now page. It's a pretty relatively easy setup. And then we continue that. But if you use our merchant services, it just makes it really easy. And most people are accepting credit cards nowadays. So, if you
Mhm.
start with that, we kind of call it land and expand. Start with just our ERP payment solution for Business Central, or which other of the ERPs. And then as you mature as a merchant, you might then add a customer portal. You might add an e-commerce connection. You might add, the full collaborative AR or the cash application solution, because they all interchange and many of them work by themselves also.
So you mentioned other ERPs. What other ERP products are you compatible with?
So in the Microsoft space, we have connectors with Great Plains, Nav. I want to say whatever the Microsoft supported versions of Nav, we'll continue to
Mhm.
support those, as well as AX, and then
Mhm.
Business Central and Finance. That's in the Microsoft space. We do also have native integrations with NetSuite, Sage Intacct. We have some industry plays with CDK Global, which is an automotive ERP solution. We have one called MRI, which is the one of the largest commercial real estate organizations. They have their own type of vertical ERP. But again, we're pretty much headless. Some of our largest customers are using P21 or, Workday or different solutions like that also, because, anyone that does B2B, has lots of invoices and has terms,
Yeah.
could be our customer.
Okay. So what are some of the new things that Versapay is looking to introduce to add value, maybe help those customers move from those legacy systems on their journey to the cloud?
Absolutely. So the conversations we're having a lot are that. So we've got, thousands of customers in the Microsoft space that are still on legacy on-premises solutions. So our solution is so much more powerful when it does connect through SaaS. It's a lot more richer. You could drive more functionality out of the ERP itself. So one of the things is we are partnering with our partners and our customers to help drive them to the cloud. Very important. It's secure, PCI compliant. All the things you probably don't want unsecure credit card information sitting on a server locally in someone's. You have the disaster. You can't work. You can't process payments. Things like that if you have issues with on-premises. So driving to the cloud is one. Looking at different types of payment acceptance, whether or not it's Apple Pay or PayPal or Google Pay or virtual cards and stuff. We're really rapidly looking at doing things like that over the future. And then really addressing the cost of running a business right now. So when you have something like cash application, which forget about credit cards or customer portals and stuff, but just our cash application solution, where if you accept checks or any type of EFT, ACH payment information from your customer, from your bank, reconciling those payments is very timely. And again, if we could take it from days to hours, from hours to minutes, we're really seeing customers save money. So it's and we're seeing over 90, I think it's 92% right now, accuracy. So when you get a check in the mail, handwritten, no remittance, you get the check for $35,000 and you have two outstanding payments or invoices, one for 15 and one for 20, it automatically applies those. And if it doesn't match, then you have some open invoices still, but doing that manual, I've talked to customers that get 10, 15, 20, 50 pages of remittance. They get a $500,000 check and they have to go in check by check, invoice by invoice, matching, trying to figure it out. Well, our AI at 92% matches those. And you don't even need our payment solution for that. So once customers start seeing that, then they all of a sudden have the savings. We don't want to reduce workforce and stuff, but it's how can people become more efficient? What other projects can these people be working on? Plus all that money you save in that time, then you can make in future more technological investments, or infrastructure changes and things like that. So that's the home run hit.
Yeah.
Just that one solution in itself.
And you talked about automation, and people have gone and automated their warehouses and their AP automation, but it seemed like AR is last, which is interesting to me. Why wouldn't you want to get paid faster?
That's what yeah, it's kind of like the sales rep that doesn't submit his expense report. I'm like, that's your money. Get it back. Don't you want to pay your own bills? So yeah, absolutely. Get paid faster because then you could, on the tail end, you control how you pay. And again, there are companies that have millions of dollars of outstanding DSO, and if they have to go borrow that, again, it's 3 times the cost right now. And there's no light ahead of us, in the cost of money. I mean, I think this is going to be the norm. These new interest rates, these new costs of money. This is going to be the norm for quite some time.
Tell us maybe a little bit more about just the Versapay journey. How did the company start, and kind of what's the company history?
Good question. So we started in 2006, Canadian-based company called Versapay, and we were actually on the Toronto Stock Exchange for many years. And about 3 years ago now, a venture capitalist took us private. And at that same time, we actually merged 4 companies into one. Now 5 companies into one in the last 2 years. So we went from a small company that had 35 employees, 40. We have over 450 companies, over $100 million in revenue, 1 million customers in our network. The growth has been incredible. And each of those companies that we bought were basically the payment companies in each of the ERPs. So ChargeLogic, for example, a lot of people in this community knew it was the go-to ChargeLogic credit card processing company. We brought that in, and that's part of Versapay. And then we brought in similar organizations in both the NetSuite and Sage world. The cash application solution, we had been OEM in that. We brought that on board, and it's our product. We redesigned it and Versapayed it. So we are still privately held, but we're growing, and a lot of that growth specifically is in our customer support and our product team. One of our main values is customer obsession. Being able to support all of these existing customers and bring on new ones to get the adoption. That's, because we don't want to just sell it to the merchant. We want their customers to use the solution as well. So we do a lot of customer service. We help, ABC company reach out to their customers because we get over 80% adoption on the solution, which is, typically in the teens.
You talked about there's 1 million people in the payment network. So like once they join that network, I guess they could still use that for other vendors.
Yeah. So their credentials get tokenized and they can basically move their wallet from one merchant to the other. And, it's really cool. And ultimately, the more people that use our solution and it says powered by Versapay, and they're a customer using Versapay, then they might actually reach out and go, wow, this was a great experience. I want to, it's funny. Now, every time I pay a bill online, I always look to see, is it, what payment solution is it? Because, at the end of the day, paying a medical bill or paying a utility bill or paying, I'm a consumer, but we all do this same thing every day.
Yeah.
We pay bills online all the time. So you take these millennials that are going into this position, or you take the generation, they just want that same Amazon experience. I just want to pay a bill. I just want to click, store my credentials, and then just make it easier to go from one merchant to another to pay those invoices.
And so is that kind of where Versapay is heading in the future? Like, what do you see on the horizon?
This AR automation category really hasn't existed.
Yeah.
AR automation, but not just, it's collaborative AR plus payments. And that's really this new category. And being the leader, we're the first to the market with this positioning and really looking at how we continue helping customers improve efficiencies, accelerate cash flow, and help their customer service. I mean, that's our 2023 initiative, and just ongoing is to see where that goes and follow where money goes. Because the way people are paying, global expansion is on our plan, expanding to the UK very soon, and then other areas of the world soon afterwards. Lots of payment regulations and rules and things like that affect the timing of that, but that's really where we want to be.
I see a lot of AR automation solutions that started out as a credit card processing payment processor, and then they added portals and some automation, send out the emails. But you guys really have kind of even gone beyond that. It's like way more of a platform or a collaborative environment for that user, the buyer or the seller, to be able to see and collaborate together on that kind of relationship. And so I think that's really unique. Kind of like we talked about that dispute settlement, right? Like, I didn't get this item shipped. Oh, sorry that happened. We'll be sure and reissue the invoice. We'll send out that product right away. That is really, I think, something very unique and distinctive about a Versapay that's different than other AR automation solutions I've seen.
Absolutely. And that's really, one of the reasons I love this organization is the merchant can immediately bring the sales rep into that conversation and go and validate, hey, was this true? And we attach shipping documents and packaging documents, and all that stuff could be tied so people can look at that right in the portal and really make it easier.
Well, thank you, David, for kind of going over what does Versapay do and how you help partners and customers in the dynamic space with your solutions. So thank you for joining today.
No problem. I love spending time with you all the time, and great seeing you in person at the shows, and being part of your program has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, David. So this is David's contact information. You want to reach out to him, you can go to their website. Like he said, you can sign up for some of their webinar sessions that they have and ongoing education, but you can also reach out. They actually created a inbox for Dynamics Connections at Versapay. So they know that when you reach out to them that you heard about them through my program and this video. So please feel free to use either emails and also David's contact information there with his mobile. So thank you so much, David. Thank you for joining today.
Absolutely. And look forward. If you want to be a partner, if you don't know who your regional partner manager is, if you want to be a customer, reach out to me and I'll make sure I get you to the right person. And again, thank you, Carol. And really looking forward to continued relationship. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.